to this. Well, that's outside our territory. We have enough on our plate. All you have to do is cut a fucking check and send it inside out. You have to get the bill.
Did you record everything?
I haven't recorded you yet. So if you have anything to say
I'm not. Are you with a
with me,
with a press company?
you can call it that if you like.
I don't know anything.
What should I call it?
A press if you want to.
I've never heard you say
A
that.
single person press.
A single person press. That's good.
Yes, that's never being oppressed. Coming from USSR, you know. Actually, I was for 29 years.
With which?
USSR, that's where I came from originally.
Oh, sure.
So I was oppressed for 29 years. That's how old I was when I came to America. The land of the free. Woohoo! Well, you don't think so?
The land of the freer.
Well, I'm sorry?
The land of the freer, maybe.
Well, what makes you say so? I mean, freer, of course. Everything is relative. That's true. Well, let's say. Actually, I would say the freest. That would be probably the most right way of saying it. The freest country in the whole
I guess
world.
we're concerned that we're going in the wrong direction.
With who? With Biden?
No,
No,
with,
with
Oh, with
voting
Biden.
rights.
been the voting.
I'm sorry?
rights
Voting rights limitations.
of all the Republicans.
It's Republicans' fault. And what did they do?
We were repressing voting rights. They're
Passing legislation to make it harder to vote.
to get harder to get abortions.
Uh-huh.
They're going to let people carry guns. The Supreme Court's going to let people carry guns. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I see.
We're
You're not against guns, you're just against carrying them.
yes.
Okay. You have a gun in your house?
No.
Neither do I. We live in a nice neighborhood. We don't need any. So you don't think that America is free? And again, but you agree it's the freest country in the world?
No, I don't think it's
Freest?
Scandinavian countries.
You think so? Have you ever been to any of Scandinavian countries?
No.
You look like Scandinavian to me. With blonde hair. I've been to all of them. I've been to
Germany,
10.
way back.
You mean Nazi Germany?
No.
Hair salons do wonderful.
Oh, I see.
But-
Got it. Well, I've been to all the Scandinavian countries. I am not too happy about the, nah.
Why not?
Because to start with, we take so many things for granted. For instance, we take for granted the fact that we have no value-added tax, right? Do you know how much they're paying in value-added tax, and they have the highest in the world?
Yes, and they're happy paying it.
No, they're not. Well, maybe they're happy, but while you're driving probably a nice SUV, they have to drive their bicycles. And the reason being not because they're saving, the world, because they just can't afford the gas. That costs, by the way, probably today's money, $10 a gallon.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Yeah, that's true in Europe, I think, generally. But they use that money
For what?
to support social programs in their countries.
So do we. I mean, we spent trillions and trillions and trillions since Lyndon Johnson. I mean, we literally spent trillions of dollars of a social program. So I just, at lower rate, not the 25%, which is what VAT is. And we, at the same time, can,
Up until
drive.
2 years ago, it's been going down, the percentage that we've been putting into
in a few
social
minutes, I
programs.
guess.
But it's trillions of
Starting
dollars.
with the Clinton administration.
I see. But do you think that it really worked? I mean, just throwing money at people.
I think partial programs do not. And I think one of the interesting things about the stimulus
Uh-huh.
was that it showed that if you give people who are poorly paid or who are on low-level welfare programs, really give them meaningful wages or meaningful dollars, they put it back into the economy and they help boost the economy.
So you're talking about a temporary solution, meaning you help people.
The stimulus was temporary.
Okay,
I
but
think there should be. I think there should be less money in police and a lot more money in
less money in the police. Okay.
more money in helping people get a decent wage, get child care, get maternity and paternity leave. That's paid.
But this
Although
is
in
all
New Jersey,
about.
You can get it.
Yeah, but this is all about opportunities. I mean, I came to this country with 100 in the pocket. That's all that I had. So I'm for this security system for people like me, when I just came to the country, they supported me for the first couple of months. But in a couple of months, I found a job, and since then, I had absolutely zero need for any social programs. In fact, I'm employing 15 people right now. So
When you came, what kind of educational background did you
it's
have?
irrelevant.
No, it's not.
No, it's absolutely irrelevant because every single person who came from USSR, I don't know a single one who is still on government subsidies. Not one. And just genuinely speaking, I mean, to me, I would like to hope that people would like to make something out of themselves, not to be beholden to the government that doles out, some money, maybe enough to go
for them to be able to get the education that they need, to be able to have decent housing, not worry about feeding their kids, and then they can get jobs.
Yeah, as long as it's
Right now,
a temporary
most
thing.
people who are in, for example, in really bad communities in Newark, they're also in terrible schools. They're awful schools, and there's actually money going into the schools. but it's
See,
not
there you go.
well-
So you're
it's not well
contradicting
used.
yourself.
But that doesn't help the individual person. That's why it's better to get living wage and money to the person, not to the government organization.
With that, I agree. Yeah, the government is always waste. When they give money to the government, they waste trillions and trillions of dollars. They're just about to waste another trillion.
I agree. Well,
Good.
I hope they fix some of the bridges and the buildings and the roads. And
As long as it goes there, yeah, but half of it doesn't go there. Half of this money doesn't go to building bridges. And you know what's amazing?
This trillion is pretty much going to infrastructure. The whole social welfare part of it hasn't been voted on yet. They held it back. It's only 1 trillion. It was
This-
supposed to be 1.85. The 0.85 was for social.
Well,
welfare.
660 billion go for so-called infrastructure, and the 500 billion goes to, I don't know, God knows where. That's how government takes your money, my money, and I totally
agree with that. I
good.
also totally agree that immigrants are the best thing in this country. People
Well,
come
thank
here,
you.
They love America.
Absolutely.
They want to work. They do work.
100%.
I tutor English for speakers of other languages.
There you go. So our
I'm in love
mindset.
with them. I'm in love with them.
Yes.
But I can also see that people who were born here into poverty and who have been
But they don't.
Really
but
oppressed.
but don't you think? Well, I totally disagree with what oppressed. But think about this way: maybe, just maybe, wouldn't you think that when you get, and the research shows that, and the practice actually shows that, when you give money to the people, it disincentivizes them, give enough basically to live kind of on a level where you have enough for your housing, enough for food, enough for clothing, like basic things. Then the question is, should I really go and get a job where I'll be getting maybe about the same amount of money, maybe a little bit more, but then I'll have to work like 5 days a week and slave 5 days a week, when the government is providing me with all of this stuff? Or another option is I'm having like 2, 3, 4, 5 kids where I'm getting extra money for each kid. Then, why bother?
Yeah,
I know lots of people like that.
lots
Yes,
of people like that?
absolutely, yes. Absolutely,
I don't
yes.
think you have 2, 3, 4, or 5 kids. You're getting enough from those kids. I mean, they're still living in
They're
terrible
poor.
conditions.
Yeah, they do, but they're okay with that. Let me put it this: not happy, but they're okay with it. It's still better for them. I mean, there are lazy people in the world. There are lots of lazy people.
There are lazy people, but I don't think all the people who are living in poverty and getting poor educations are lazy. I think they've been kind of.
Well, there are many factors. I agree, but this is definitely one of those factors. And again, I'm all for welfare. I'm all for helping people who actually need it. When I see, let's say, a blind person or a person without a leg or whatever, I mean, my heart goes out. They were not lucky. It's like life is a draw of luck, however the saying goes. And we're lucky. You're able-bodied. You can make something out of yourselves. Other people, so am I. But imagine you're born, a cripple. I'm all for helping people like that for the rest of their lives. But are they
A lot of those
able-bodied?
people don't need it and don't want it too. I have a friend who's been legally blind since birth. She has an eye condition. She does fabulous things. She's worked all her life and does.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's even better.
But I don't know. We don't really
That's my
see
take.
eye to eye on that. But it's interesting. Why did you come? How did you come from the USSR?
Well, the hardest part was the wait. Meaning, I was waiting for 29 years. Of course, when I was a kid, I didn't know what I wanted. But As far back as I remember myself, as early as maybe 9 years old or something like that, I mean, those moments that got stuck in my mind, I always wanted to get the hell out. The whole propaganda machine of the Soviet Union fails to brainwash me. So when people talk about brainwashing this and that, I don't get it. I don't take it, because I am an example of someone who was being brainwashed for my entire life, and there was no brainwashing machine in the Soviet Union, and yet they failed to do that. So I always to get out, but it was impossible. So it was like a living nightmare over there.
How did you?
Well, being Jewish, there was this opportunity. And this opportunity was denied to us from the invasion of the Soviets into Afghanistan in 1979. That's when the border was completely closed shut. Up until Reagan came to power, and Thatcher, and Pope John Paul II, and Lech Walesa, and Gorbachev. So thanks to, and of course the Soviet Union was totally destroyed economically back then, and because of the brilliant Reagan's idea of Star Wars, which never worked, obviously. But the Russians didn't know that. They didn't know how to compete in space. So it was brilliant bluff. And then Gorbachev just happens to be one of those leaders who realized that, well, we just can't continue like that. Something has to change.
Yeah.
And that's when perestroika, glasnost happened. That's when the border started opening up a little bit. And as soon as it cracked open, I got out. Not escaped, but applied for a visa, went through the motions, and I was out. Finally came to America, never been prouder American and happy American.
Yeah. I think it's really. I watched a really interesting film, a documentary. It was on HBO about 2 weeks ago, and it was called Citizen USA. And the filmmaker, who actually happens to be Nancy Pelosi's daughter, went to swearing-in ceremonies all over the country, and got little statements from people who had just been sworn in. And my husband and I were watching, and it's like, we're very critical of the United States because we always want it to be better, right? And you really forget, as you say, there's a lot of freedom here, there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of things, and all these people come here and, they recognize it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good reminder.
I'm waiting for Bill to show up.
Can I bring the car?
Take a picture of my poster, please.
Sure, absolutely. And what does it say? If you can explain to me how one point...
Going on since 1997 and earlier, each year it gets hotter.
But you know what's funny? It starts in 1970.